The alarm sounds echoed through the crystal halls of the Galactic Council Station. Deep space monitors had picked up something that should not exist. A ship was moving through space at speeds that broke every law of physics the galaxy knew. Commander. Veltar pressed his six-fingered hand against the control panel. His blue skin turned pale as he read the numbers again. The ship was moving faster than light, but not in the way other ships did. This was different. This was impossible. Send. Word to all council members, Veltar said to his assistant. Emergency meeting. Now. 3 star systems away, Admiral Tamin stood on the bridge of the human warship Indomitable. He was a tall man with graying hair and calm eyes. His uniform was simple and dark. No fancy decorations or bright colors like other species used. Just clean lines and practical design. Sir, we are being scanned, reported Captain So-Young from her station. She was younger than the Admiral, with sharp features and quick movements. Her fingers danced over the controls as she monitored the alien sensors trying to read their ship. Let them scan, Tamin said quietly. They will not understand what they see anyway. Behind them, Commander Beho worked at the engineering station. He was a stocky man with thick hands that moved with surprising grace over the complex controls. The ship's engines hummed with power that no alien race had ever imagined possible. Engine status? Tamin asked. Running at 12%, Beho replied. We could go much faster if needed. Tamin nodded. 12% was already faster than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The aliens would be terrified if they knew the ship was barely trying. On the council station, 7 different alien races gathered around a massive table. Each looked different from the others. The Vorthak were made of living crystal that changed colors with their moods. Right now, they glowed red with fear. The Nebulon representatives floated in gas-filled suits, their forms shifting like clouds. The Ironhold Federation sent cyborgs with more metal than flesh. The readings make no sense, said Counselor Zethra, her crystal form flashing angry orange. No ship can move that fast. No energy source exists that could power such movement. Perhaps our instruments are broken, suggested Elder Knox from the Nebulon Collective. His voice came through speakers as gas swirled inside his suit. All of our instruments? Across 3 star systems? The cyborg representative's voice was flat and electronic. Probability: less than 0.01%. The truth was hard to accept. Something was coming toward them that they did not understand. Something that should not exist. Admiral Tamin watched the stars stream past the bridge windows. Earth was very far behind them now. Humanity had been traveling between stars for many years, but they had stayed hidden. They watched. They learned. They prepared. Sir, So-Young said, we are receiving communication attempts, standard galactic frequencies. Ignore them, Tamin ordered. We will speak when we are ready, not when they demand it. The human ship continued its impossible journey toward the heart of galactic civilization. Every sensor in the galaxy tracked its movement. Every military base went to high alert. Every species that thought they knew everything about space and physics began to doubt what they knew. Dr. Hyjin entered the bridge carrying a data pad. She was a small woman with kind eyes, but her mind was sharp as any weapon. She studied alien cultures and languages. She knew more about the galaxy's inhabitants than they knew about each other. Admiral, she said, the alien chatter is increasing. They are very afraid. Good, Tamin replied. Fear will make them listen. Some are calling for immediate attack, Hyjin continued. The warrior races think we might be a threat. We are a threat, said Lieutenant Dalho from the weapons station. He was young and eager, with the confidence that came from knowing his ship could defeat anything in the galaxy. Just not the kind they think. Tae-min turned to look at his crew. These were good people, smart people. They had volunteered for this mission knowing they might never return home, but they also knew how important this moment was for everyone in the galaxy. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems green," Beho reported. "Weapons ready but powered. Down. Shields at minimum. We are running silent except for engines." "Good. We want them to know we are coming, but not what we can do." The Galactic Council continued their emergency session. Hours passed as they argued about what to do. Some wanted to attack the unknown ship. Others wanted to try communication. A few suggested running away to distant systems until the threat passed. "We must know what we face," declared General Korth of the Brutaxi Empire. His species were warriors, 7 feet tall with thick armor-like skin. "Send our fastest ships to intercept." "That could be seen as an act of war," warned diplomat Yilseth of the Peaceful Harmonic Union. Her people were small and blue, with large eyes that showed their emotions clearly. Right now, those eyes showed pure terror. "Everything could be seen as an act of war," Korth growled. "Better to fight with some knowledge than die in ignorance." The vote was close, but the military faction won. 3 of the galaxy's most advanced warships changed course to intercept the unknown vessel. They were the pride of galactic engineering, armed with weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop anything. They would not be enough. Admiral Tae-min received word of the approaching ships from his sensor officer. 3 vessels on intercept course, sir. Heavy cruiser class, armed and dangerous." "Of course they are," Tae-min said calmly. "So young, prepare the standard greeting." "Yes, sir." "Non-lethal demonstration?" "Exactly. We want to make friends, not enemies." The human ship continued toward its destination, unchanged by the approaching alien warships. Behind them, the galaxy held its breath and waited to see what would happen when unstoppable force met unmovable object. They had no idea that humanity was both. The 3 alien warships reached firing range first. Captain Zorketh of the Brutaxi flagship Ironwill felt his heart's beating fast as he looked at the unknown vessel on his screen. It was smaller than he expected, but something about it made his warrior instinct scream danger. "Open fire," he ordered. "Full power. Show this invader what happens when they enter our space uninvited." Energy beams that could melt mountains shot across space toward the human ship. Missiles that carried enough explosive power to destroy cities followed close behind. The aliens watched their sensors, waiting to see the unknown ship torn apart. Nothing happened. The weapons hit the human vessel and simply vanished. No explosion, no damage. The energy beams seemed to be absorbed into the ship's hull like water soaking into sand. The missiles struck and disappeared as if they had never existed. "Impossible," whispered Zorketh. "Nothing can absorb that much energy." On the bridge of the Indomitable, Admiral Tae-min watched the alien attack with calm interest. The ship's defensive systems had activated automatically, converting the incoming energy into useful power for the ship's systems. "Their weapons are primitive but effective," observed Captain So-young. "Energy output suggests they could destroy most targets easily." "Note the firing patterns," Tae-min said. "Save the data. We may need to understand their tactics later." Lieutenant Dalho looked up from his weapons console. "Admiral, should we return fire?" "Not yet. Let them try everything they have first. We want them to understand the difference in our capabilities. The 3 alien ships continued their attack for 10 minutes. They used every weapon they carried, every trick they knew: plasma cannons, quantum disruptors, gravity bombs, radiation pulses. Nothing worked. The human ship absorbed everything and kept moving toward its destination as if nothing was happening. Commander Bayho reported from engineering. Energy levels at 15% and rising. Their attacks are actually charging our systems. Taemin smiled slightly. Efficient. Send a thank you message to the alien ships. Tell them we appreciate the free energy. The alien captains received the message and felt their blood turn cold. The unknown ship was not just surviving their attacks, it was feeding on them. Retreat, ordered Captain Yildar of the second ship. We cannot fight something that eats our weapons. No, growled Zorketh. We are warriors. We do not run. But even the proud Brutaxi captain began to doubt when his strongest weapons had no effect. His ship's computer calculated that they had already fired enough firepower to destroy a small moon. The human vessel showed no damage at all. Admiral Taemin decided it was time for the demonstration to begin. Dalho, target their shield generators, minimum power. We want to disable, not destroy. Yes, sir. Targeting solutions locked. The Indomitable fired a single beam of pale blue light. It looked weak compared to the massive energy blasts the aliens had been using. But when it touched the first alien ship's shields, something incredible happened. The shields simply vanished, not destroyed or overwhelmed. They just stopped existing, as if someone had turned off a light switch. The alien ship sat naked in space, completely defenseless. Captain Zorketh stared at his control panels, in shock. Shield status! Shields are gone, sir, his engineer reported with a shaking voice. Not damaged, not offline, gone. The generators are working perfectly, but they are not generating anything. The human ship fired 2 more gentle beams. The other alien ships lost their shields the same way. 3 of the most powerful warships in the galaxy were now as helpless as cargo vessels. This is Captain Zorketh of the Brutaxi Ironwill, he broadcast on open channels. Unknown vessel, we surrender. Please state your intentions. Taemin nodded to So Young. Open communication. Full visual. The alien captains found themselves looking at something they had never seen before. A human face appeared on their screens. Taemin looked calm and professional, with the bearing of someone used to command. But there was something else in his eyes, something that made even hardened warriors feel small. I am Admiral Taemin of the human vessel Indomitable, he said, in perfect galactic standard. You have attacked my ship without provocation. In most circumstances, this would be considered an act of war. The aliens said nothing. What could they say? Their best weapons had been useless. Their strongest defenses had been removed as easily. As taking off clothes? However, Taemin continued, we understand you were afraid. Fear makes people do foolish things. We forgive this attack, but we will not forget it. Dr. Hyojin stepped into view beside the Admiral. She looked at the alien faces on the screen with scientific interest. We request safe passage to the Galactic Council Station. We have important matters to discuss with your leaders. You speak our languages, Captain Yildar managed to say. How do you know our languages? We have been watching you for a long time, Hyojin replied simply. We know many things about your people. This statement sent chills through every alien who heard it. If these humans had been watching them, What else did they know? What secrets had been observed? What plans had been discovered? Zorkith forced himself to speak with some dignity. "We will escort you to the council station. You have proven your superiority in this encounter." "Thank you," Taemin said politely. "Please repair your shields. We would not want you to be defenseless if other threats appear." The Admiral's words were kind, but the message was clear. The humans could take away their defenses anytime they wanted. They were allowing the aliens to have shields, not the other way around. As the small fleet moved toward the council station, news of the encounter spread across the galaxy faster than light. The story grew with each telling. A single human ship had defeated 3 warships without taking damage. Their weapons could remove shields without destroying them. They had been watching galactic civilization for unknown years. But the most frightening part of the story was the humans' restraint. They could have destroyed the alien ships easily. Instead, they had simply demonstrated their power and asked for safe passage. What kind of species had such advanced weapons but chose not to use them? General Kyung-soo monitored the situation from the massive military base in the Corvan system. As the galaxy's primary defense coordinator, he understood military tactics better than most. The human demonstration had been perfect, overwhelming power combined with perfect control. It was the mark of a truly advanced civilization. "Sir," his aide reported, "all fleets are requesting orders. Should we prepare for invasion?" Kyung-soo studied the tactical displays. The human ship was moving directly toward the council station, making no threatening moves toward any other targets. Their message had been clear. They wanted to talk, not fight. "Negative," he decided. "All units maintain current positions, but do not approach the human vessel. If they wanted war, we would already be fighting it." Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched their communication networks with growing anxiety. The humans were coming, and no one knew what they wanted. The only thing certain was that the galaxy would never be the same again. On the Indomitable, Admiral Taemin looked at the stars ahead and thought about the moment that was coming. First contact. The meeting that would change everything. His. People had prepared for this day for many years. Soon the galaxy would learn that they were not alone in the universe. They would also learn that being alone might have been safer. The Omega-7 station floated in neutral space, built specifically for important meetings between different alien races. It was huge, with sections designed for every type of life form in the galaxy. Today, it held the most important gathering in galactic history. Ambassador Yuna walked through the station's corridors with quiet confidence. She was an elegant woman with silver hair and sharp eyes that missed nothing. Behind her came a small group of humans, each a specialist in their field. They moved with the same calm purpose that marked all human actions. The alien representatives watched them approach with a mixture of fear and curiosity. These humans looked ordinary enough. 2 arms, 2 legs, 1 head, no natural weapons or armor. They seemed fragile compared to the massive Brutaxi warriors or the armored Ironhold cyborgs. But everyone had heard what their ship could do. Counselor Vextar of the Brutaxi Empire studied the humans with a warrior's eye. He was 8 feet tall and built like a living tank. His people had conquered half their home galaxy through strength and courage. But something about these small, soft-looking humans made him nervous. "They do not look dangerous," he said to his aide. "Neither does poison." The aide replied quietly. The meeting hall was vast, with a round table that could seat hundreds. Each alien delegation had their own section with appropriate atmosphere and gravity. The humans were given a section designed for carbon-based life forms like themselves. Admiral Taemin entered the hall and every conversation stopped. He was not the largest being present or the most exotic, but when he looked around the room, even the proudest alien leaders felt the weight of his attention. This was someone used to being obeyed without question. "Honored representatives," Yuna began, her voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "We thank you for this meeting. I am Ambassador Yuna, speaking for the human race." Elder Zixthon of the Ancient Keeper Council leaned forward. His people were among the oldest in the galaxy, with memories that stretched back millions of years. "Human race," he repeated slowly. "We have no record of your species in our archives." "That is because we did not want to be recorded," Yuna replied simply. The statement sent whispers through the alien delegations. How long had these humans been watching them? What else did they know? Engineer Min Ho stepped forward, carrying a device that looked simple, but somehow felt important. "With your permission, we would like to share some information about ourselves." "Proceed," said the Vorthak representative, her crystal form glowing nervous purple. Minho activated the device, and suddenly the air above the table filled with images. Stars, planets, ships. The aliens gasped as they recognized their own worlds displayed in perfect detail. "We have been observing your civilizations for approximately 200 Earth years," Yuna explained. "We know your histories, your cultures, your technologies, your conflicts." The images changed to show battles between different alien races. Wars that had been fought in secret, weapons that were supposed to be classified, even private conversations between leaders who thought they were secure. Counselor Vextar slammed his massive fist on the table. "This is spying! You admit to watching us without permission." "Yes," Yuna agreed calmly. "We needed to understand what kind of galaxy we were entering. What we found was concerning." More images appeared, charts and graphs that showed patterns the aliens had never noticed. The data revealed something shocking. For the past 1,000 years, every major war in the galaxy had been carefully controlled. Conflicts started and stopped at specific times. Technologies were shared or hidden according to a hidden plan. "This is impossible," whispered diplomat Yilseth. "Wars happen naturally. There is no grand plan." Captain Nari, the human intelligence officer, spoke for the first time. She was a quiet woman with thoughtful eyes, but her words carried terrible certainty. "There is. Your Galactic Council has been managing conflicts to maintain balance. No species is allowed to become too powerful. No technology is permitted to advance too quickly." The alien representatives looked at each other with growing horror. Were the humans right? Had their entire civilization been manipulated for centuries? Scientist Jiwoo added more evidence. She was young for a human, but her knowledge of galactic history was deeper than most alien scholars. Every time a species developed faster than light communication, they mysteriously encountered disasters that set them back. Every time a peaceful alliance became too successful, new conflicts would arise to break it apart. "You lie," accused the cyborg representative. "The Council promotes peace and cooperation." "The Council promotes controlled stagnation," Admiral Taemin said quietly. His first words since entering the hall carried absolute authority. "You are kept like animals in a zoo, fed enough to survive but never enough to grow." The accusations hung in the air like poison. Deep down, many of the aliens had suspected something was wrong with their civilization. Too many coincidences, too many perfect timing disasters. Too many wars that served no one's interests except maintaining the status quo. Elder Zixthon's ancient voice trembled as he spoke. Even if this were true, what concern is it of yours? You could simply avoid our galaxy, Dr. Hyejin answered. Him. Because we have seen what happens when civilizations stagnate. They die, slowly, quietly, but they die. Your birth rates are falling. Your innovation has stopped. Your people are losing hope without knowing why. More data filled the air. Population curves that showed declining growth across every species. Technology development that had slowed to almost nothing. Cultural achievements that had peaked centuries ago and were now in decline. You are all dying, Taemin said simply. And the ones controlling you are dying fastest of all. The Galactic Council representatives tried to deny it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Their civilization was decaying from within, held in place by invisible chains that prevented growth or change. What do you want from us? Asked Counselor Vextar. The warrior's pride was gone, replaced by something that might have been fear. Yuna smiled, and for the first time since the meeting began, her expression showed warmth. We want to help you break free. We want to show you what you could become if you were allowed to reach your full potential. And if we refuse? The cyborg asked. Then we leave, Taemin replied. But your controllers will not allow that. They know that our presence alone threatens their system. They will try to destroy us, and they will fail. The question is whether you will help them or help yourselves. As if summoned by his words, alarms began sounding throughout the station. Emergency broadcasts filled the communication channels. The hidden masters of galactic civilization had decided that the human threat could not be tolerated. The war for the galaxy's freedom was about to begin. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds, beings who had lived their entire lives under hidden control began to feel something they had almost forgotten. Hope. The silence that had held their spirits captive for so long was finally starting to crack. And in that crack, revolution began to grow. Dr. Hyejin sat across from Elder Zixthon in a small meeting room away from the main conference hall. The ancient being looked tired, older than his millions of years should have made him. His people, the Keepers, were supposed to guard galactic history and wisdom. Now he was learning that history itself had been a lie. Tell me about the first silence, Hyejin said gently. She had studied the Keeper's ancient records, but she wanted to hear the truth from someone who had lived it. Zixthon's voice was barely a whisper. It was not what we recorded. The official history says it was a time of peace, when all races agreed to work together. But that is not what happened. What really happened? War. Total war. Every species fighting every other species until the galaxy was almost empty. Billions died. Whole worlds turned to dust. And then they came. Hyejin leaned forward. Who came? The Shapers. That is what they called themselves. They appeared when we were weakest, when we had nearly destroyed ourselves. They offered peace. They offered order. They offered survival. At what cost? Zixthon looked directly at her with eyes that had seen civilizations rise and fall. Freedom. They gave us peace by taking away our ability to choose conflict. They gave us order by controlling every aspect of our development. They gave us survival by making sure we could never threaten them. In another part of the station, Captain Nari was meeting with Counselor Vextar. The massive warrior paced back and forth like a caged animal, his frustration obvious. "My people are fighters," he growled. "We live for battle, for honor, for victory. But every war we fight is meaningless. Every victory is hollow. Why?" "Because you are not fighting real enemies," Nari replied. "You are fighting training exercises designed to keep you busy. The Shapers give you conflicts that feel important, but change nothing." "How do you know this?" Nari pulled out a small device and projected images into the air. Battle plans, supply routes, strategic objectives, all perfectly calculated to create exciting wars that went nowhere. "We studied your military history. Every conflict follows the same pattern. Initial success, followed by setbacks, followed by stalemate, followed by negotiated peace that leaves everyone exactly where they started." Vexatar stared at the evidence of his people's manipulation. Generations of warriors had died in battles that were designed to accomplish nothing. The rage building inside him was terrible to see. "What can we do?" he asked. "Fight a real war," Nari answered, "against the real enemy." Meanwhile, scientist Jiwoo was talking with a group of younger alien representatives. These beings had grown up feeling that something was wrong with their world, but they had never been able to identify what. "You call it the great sadness," Jiwoo said, looking at each of them. "The feeling that life should be more than it is, that your people should be achieving greater things." A young Vorthak scientist flickered bright blue with excitement. "Yes, we have technologies that could revolutionize everything, but the Council always finds reasons to delay or abandon them." "My people have art and music that could inspire the galaxy," added a Harmonic Union representative. "But it is always deemed too dangerous or disruptive for public release." Jiwoo nodded. "The Shapers have been suppressing anything that might cause rapid change or emotional awakening. They want you content but not inspired, stable but not growing." "But humans are different," observed a young cyborg. "Your ship, your technology, your confidence, you are not shaped by them." "No," Jiwoo smiled. "We shaped ourselves, and we can teach you how to do the same." Back in the main hall, Admiral Taemin was receiving reports from his ship. Commander Beho's voice came through the communications system with urgency. "Admiral, we are detecting massive energy buildups throughout the galaxy. Something big is powering up." "The reality warper," Taemin said calmly. "They are preparing their ultimate weapon." Ambassador Yu-Na turned to the alien representatives. "Your hidden masters are about to reveal themselves. They have a weapon that can erase entire timelines from existence. They plan to use it to remove humanity from reality itself." The aliens looked shocked. Even the cyborg's electronic voice carried emotion. "Such a weapon is theoretical only. The energy requirements would be enormous." "They have been building it for thousands of years, Engineer," Minho explained. "Every war, every conflict, every act of destruction has fed energy into their system. Your pain and death have been charging their weapon." Elder Zixthon entered the main hall, his ancient form moving with new purpose. "The human speaks truth. I remember now. The Keepers were told to record certain events in specific ways. We thought we were preserving history. We were hiding it." "Where is this weapon?" demanded Vextar. "Everywhere," Hyajin replied. "It is built into the fabric of space itself. Hidden nodes in every star system, connected by quantum entanglement. When activated, it will rewrite reality to remove anything the Shapers consider a threat." The station shook as massive energy waves swept through space. On the screens, they could see stars flickering as the hidden weapon began to charge. Across the galaxy, ancient devices that had been disguised as navigation beacons or communication relays were revealing their true purpose. "How long do we have?" asked Yuna. Taimin checked his instruments. 6 hours until full charge. After that, they can erase us from existence with the press of a button. "Then we have failed," whispered diplomat Yilseth. "How can anyone fight a weapon that controls reality itself?" Dr. Yunji, the human quantum physicist, spoke for the first time. She was a small woman with wild hair and intense eyes. "By existing outside reality." The alien stared at her. "Impossible." "Humans evolved during our journey between galaxies," Yunji explained. "We spent generations in the void between realities. Our consciousness learned to exist partially outside normal space-time. The Shaper's weapon cannot erase what does not fully exist in their reality." "But what about us?" asked the young Vorthak. "We are fully real. We can be erased." Colonel Seok-jin, the Human Liberation Forces commander, stepped forward. He was a hard-faced man with scars that told stories of many battles. "Not if you choose to be free." "What do you mean?" "Consciousness is more powerful than reality," Seok-jin explained. "If enough minds reject the Shaper's control at the same moment, their weapon will fail. The galaxy's people must choose freedom over safety, chaos over control, hope over despair." "How many minds?" asked Elder Zixthon. "All of them," Taimin replied simply. "Every thinking being in the galaxy must reject the Shaper's reality at the exact same moment. It has never been attempted on such a scale." The alien representatives looked at each other with a mixture of terror and excitement. They were being asked to bet their entire civilization on the power of free will. "If we fail?" asked Vextar. "Then we all cease to exist," Yuna admitted. "But if we succeed, the galaxy will be truly free for the first time in millennia." Outside, the energy buildup continued. Reality itself began to bend and twist as the Shaper's weapon approached full power. Soon, they would have the ability to rewrite the universe itself. But in the meeting hall, something even more powerful was building. Hope. Real hope, for the first time in 1,000 years. The revolution of consciousness was about to begin. Fleet Admiral Dong Hyun materialized on the bridge of the Indomitable through quantum teleportation. He was older than Taimin, with white hair and eyes that had seen the birth and death of stars. As overall commander of humanity's expeditionary forces, he brought news from across the galaxy. "The weapon is almost ready," he reported grimly. "Reality distortions are appearing in 17 systems. The Shapers are preparing to erase not just us, but any memory that we ever existed." Admiral Taimin nodded calmly. "And our people?" "In position. Dr. Yunji's quantum consciousness nodes are active in every inhabited system. We are ready to begin the Liberation Protocol." On the station, the alien representatives worked frantically to contact their home worlds. The message they carried was simple but terrifying. "Reject everything you have been taught about reality, or cease to exist entirely," Counselor Vextar roared orders into his communicator. "All Brutaxi warriors, listen to me. We have been slaves pretending to be conquerors. Today we choose real freedom or real death." The response from his people was immediate. Across 100 warrior worlds, Brutaxi voices rose in battle cries that had not been heard for generations. They were ready to fight, even if the enemy was reality itself. Elder Zixthon used the ancient Keeper communication networks to reach every corner of the galaxy. His message went to beings who had almost forgotten how to hope. Children of the stars, you have lived in chains made of lies. Break those chains with a single thought. I am free. Dr. Yunji worked furiously at her quantum equipment. The plan was theoretical, untested, and probably impossible. But it was their only chance. The consciousness field is building, she reported. 17 billion minds and counting. But we need more. We need everyone. Colonel Seok-jin coordinated with resistance cells that had existed in secret for centuries, hidden groups on every world who had always known something was wrong but had never known what to do about it. Now they had their moment. Liberation teams are in position, he reported. Quantum consciousness amplifiers are active on every major world. When we give the signal, every thinking being in the galaxy will hear it. The Shaper's weapon reached 80% charge. Space itself began to crack and bend as reality prepared to rewrite itself. On their hidden worlds, ancient beings, who had controlled the galaxy for millennia, prepared to delete humanity from existence. But they had made one crucial mistake. They had underestimated what freedom meant to those who had never truly known it. Ambassador Yuna stood before the assembled alien representatives. The moment approaches. In 60 seconds, every mind in the galaxy must make the same choice. Accept the Shaper's reality or create our own. What if we fail? Whispered diplomat Yilseth. Then we fail free, replied Captain Nari. The countdown began. Across the galaxy, billions of beings prepared to risk everything for a chance at something they had only dreamed of. Real freedom. 50 seconds. The weapon charged to 90%. Reality distortions spread through dozens of star systems. 40 seconds. Dr. Yunji's quantum amplifiers reached full power. The consciousness field connected every thinking mind in the galaxy. 30 seconds. Ancient Shaper machines that had hidden in plain sight for millennia revealed themselves, preparing to reshape existence itself. 20 seconds. Fear and hope battled in every heart across the galaxy. 10 seconds. Admiral Taemin spoke one word that echoed through every mind. Choose. 0. The Shapers activated their reality weapon. Energy that could rewrite the laws of physics itself swept through the galaxy, seeking to erase humanity and any memory of their rebellion. But at that exact moment, every conscious mind in the galaxy made the same choice. They rejected the Shapers' reality. They chose freedom over safety, chaos over control, hope over despair. The weapon struck human consciousness and simply stopped. It could not erase what existed partially outside reality, and it could not rewrite a universe that refused to be rewritten. The energy backlash was incredible. Shaper machines that had hidden for millennia exploded in brilliant flashes of light. The ancient beings who had controlled the galaxy for so long found their power broken, their carefully constructed reality crumbling around them. And in that moment of liberation, something beautiful happened. The galaxy began to sing. It started on the Brutaxi warrior worlds, where voices raised in battle songs that had been forbidden for centuries. It spread to the artistic worlds of the Harmonic Union, where musicians played melodies that had been deemed too dangerous for public performance. The Vorthak crystals chimed with frequencies that created new colors never seen before. The nebulon. Collectives swirled into patterns that told stories of hope and possibility. Even the mechanical Ironhold Federation found their electronic voices joining the galactic chorus. Fleet Admiral Dong Hyun watched the displays in amazement. Energy readings are off the charts. Every world is broadcasting simultaneously. Not broadcasting, Dr. Yoonji corrected with tears in her eyes. Celebrating. The silence that had held the galaxy captive for 1,000 years was finally broken, and in its place was the most beautiful sound the universe had ever heard, the voice of freedom itself. Admiral Tae-min stood on the bridge of the Indomitable and activated the galactic communication system. His message went to every world, every ship, every being that had just won their freedom. "People of the galaxy," he began, "you have broken chains that you never knew existed. You have chosen freedom when it would have been easier to remain slaves. Today, you prove that consciousness is stronger than reality, that hope is more powerful than fear." He paused, looking out at the stars that now belonged to free beings instead of hidden masters. "We did not come to conquer you. We came to remind you that you were never meant to be conquered. The galaxy is yours now. What you do with it is up to you." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Messages poured in from every corner of the galaxy. Thanks, questions, invitations, declarations of independence from hidden masters who no longer existed. Counselor Vextar's voice boomed across the communication channels. "The Brutaxi Empire declares itself free. We will fight beside any who choose freedom over slavery." Elder Zixthon added his ancient wisdom. "The Keepers will record the true history from this day forward. No more lies, no more hidden masters, only truth." The young representatives who had felt the great sadness all their lives now felt something else. Hope for a future they could create themselves. Ambassador Yuna smiled as she watched the celebration, spreading across the galaxy. "The work is just beginning. Freedom is harder than slavery, but it is worth it." Dr. Hyejin began planning the cultural exchange programs that would help formerly enslaved species learn to think for themselves again. Captain Nari organized security networks to protect new freedoms from any who might try to recreate the old system. And on worlds across the galaxy, beings who had lived their entire lives in invisible cages stepped out into the light of real freedom for the first time. The Indomitable began its journey back to human space, but they left behind quantum communication nodes that would ensure the galaxy could never again be silenced. The network of free consciousness that had broken the Shaper's weapon became a permanent connection between all liberated minds. As the human ship departed, Admiral Tae-min recorded his final log entry of the mission. First contact complete. Thibavo. Galaxy is no longer silent. They have found their voice, and they will never lose it again. Behind them, the galaxy sang with 1 billion different voices, all celebrating the same thing: freedom. The age of hidden masters was over. The age of choice had begun.